The 26 Charlie Tango 730 PMR446 SSTV experiment. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey November uniform, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres in PMR446. Now, this is actually about PMR446 today, because I'm going to try a little experiment using slow scan television. Now, I've decided to use the PD120 mode for this because I know that works on FM perfectly fine because that's what the ISS uses. So that's the PMR radio I'll be using, which is the Midland Basecamp 446. So I'm going to use PMR446 channel 1 because I don't think there's any other channel allocated to data, and I'm pretty sure that people use data on channel 1. Although, having said that, loads of kids use channel 1 as well, so that might cause some problems. But it's been actually quiet in this area, so that's actually not so bad, so I can actually use the channel. And I've got my Windows 10 tablet down here running SSTV. So I've connected the radio using this rather clever setup. It's basically an adapter that converts the headphone socket type connector into two phono sockets, which is running through a ground loop isolator into, and I'll show you this little USB sound dongle here. Now that's connected to the microphone input on that. The problem with that is it puts 5 volts or so out for phantom power for some microphones. The ground loop isolator is going to eliminate that because it's a DC current and only AC is going to get through the transformers, whereas DC would be blocked by it. So it kind of works as a way to block that. So I'm going to have to connect that up to the mains, obviously, to keep it switched on. The Midland Basecamp 446, excuse me, though it is a type-approved PMR446 radio, it's kind of like a portable base radio. It does have its own speaker mic, and you can actually use it as it is. It does have a built-in microphone there. I'm not sure if I've covered this radio on the channel, but if I haven't, I might do at some point. I'm not sure even if I covered it in lockdown reviews last year. So I've propped it up high on the boxes for the Thunderpole T3000 and the Moonraker Micro, and a biscuit tin and another box under there, just to try and get it up as high as possible, because at UHF height is might, as you will probably find out when you start playing with PMR446 and other low power UHF handhelds, but being mainly PMR446 in the UK. In America, I believe it's the family radio service, the FRS. They're limited to about half a watt as well, if I recall. So I'm going to put that onto charge, and instead of using the screen capture software to record what's going on, I'm going to set up a camcorder in here as well to record what that's doing, because the screen capture software might affect the SSTV reception if it works at all. So I'm going to go to 2 locations to do this. First one's going to be the grandstand at the old racecourse in Richmond, and the second location is going to be the down-home viewing point. Now, both are pretty high up, and I can usually get a CB signal back into Catrick from both of them. However, I'm not sure whether I'd be able to get the PMR446 signal back into Richmond from both of them, obviously, given the low power, but it is much higher than I am, and I will probably put a terrain plot onto the video. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet, but we'll soon find out later on. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that connected up to the mains, and then I can start doing what I've got to do. Now, this is actually running off its battery charger because the internal rechargeable battery has about had it. I believe that rechargeable battery is the same as some of Midland's handheld PMR446 radios. So my Intec MT5050 just runs on AA's, so that's easy to do, and that's the radio I'll be taking, along with a set of replacement batteries should I need them, although I don't think I'm going to need them. So I've got a nice selection of batteries in both sizes, AA's, but they're all going in the realistic, and some AAA's as well for some other things that I need the AAA's for, so, which will be more likely than not be the Binatone Action 950, which is in here. So I'll be back in a wee while once I'm actually on location. Right, so I'm on site now, and I've got this tablet and the MT5050. So I'm going to take this side off this. Now this is broken, so it'll just come loose, unfortunately. Nothing I can do about that right now. I'm also beaconing APRS try and get the right word out. So I'm just going to go down to the carrier bag that I've got here as well. So we've got this lead. One end of this goes into the microphone and charger socket of the MT5050. And the other end goes into the tablet. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the tablet. Obviously you guys aren't allowed to see that because it's got a pin number on it. And the next thing I'm going to do is go into the Sstv encoder. So I'm going to open up a picture stored on here. So press that button. It's going to be in the Bluetooth folder because it's one I sent from my phone. And that's the one I want to use. Choose image. How do you choose image? Yeah. There we are, the tick in the corner there, I couldn't see it. I'm going to then move that up so it fits in the frame as best I can. Now I'm using PD120 because I know that works on FM. I might have mentioned that already because it's what the ISS use. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to key up the radio now, and that will put this tablet into headset mode. So that's the radio now transmitting. I press the start button. I can let go of the PTT and it will hold it. So that's now transmitting, you see that image, and it's recording back at base on the camcorder. So I'm going to send this image twice because I don't know whether it will get through or not. You just never know. It is PMR446 at the end of the day, and these antennas are woefully inefficient. So that does happen. That's just my other radio in the background. The GB3IR isn't far from here, and I'm also it's on for beaconing APRS. So if you're not a licensed ham, you can actually decode those packets. But if you are a licensed ham, you can actually transmit them as well. And I do run an iGate in Captrick Garrison for those that might be interested. So this is still sending. It's just a series of audio tones. So I plugged a speaker and a splitter into the Midland Basecamp 446 back at home. So I'm not sure whether it's getting through or not, but we'll soon find out when I get back. So I'm just keeping an eye on that. So I'm just going to send it twice. So it keeps the transmitter on for a while. It's at half a watt. It's legal PMR446. Nothing illegal here. I'll try to avoid that where possible. And hopefully, with a bit of luck, this will finish transmitting. It's obviously quite a lot to transmit because it's actually a photo and some text, which you will see later in the video if it's actually got to the other end. So I don't know what it's doing because I can't actually hear that at the moment. I do have another PMR446 set to hand, so I can actually listen. Yeah, this place is a popular place with dog walkers, so I might get some canine attention, which has exactly happened here. Yeah, I've got nothing for you. Yeah, as happens. Okay. So, just waiting for that to finish doing its thing, and it should stop transmitting. It's currently transmitting at the moment, and now it's stopped. So I can repeat that, because I'm going to send it twice. Press the TX button on the radio, push the button on the tablet, let go of the PTT. I don't know what it is, but something causes it to lock on PTT whilst the audio's going through. It's a wee bit weird. Something causes it to transmit. So there, it's transmitting at the moment. 4 bars on that means half a watt. If it was all 6 bars, it would be 4 watts because there is a 4 watt modification in these Intec MT5050s, which has been known for quite a number of years. So there you go. So I think my mic's moved as well, which isn't really helping the situation. I'm not sure if there's any wind noise being picked up. I think this is going to be quite a large image to send. So it's probably going to be occupying the channel for a bit longer than I would like. So that's not ideal. I'm going to have a fiddle around and see, because this is experimental at the end of the day. So if you do live in the Richmond and Catterick areas and you've heard strange noises on PMR446 channel 1 today, it was me. And these channels are available to use no matter who you are, and you've got to also put up with interference. You can use CDCSS, which would obviously hide anything in the background, but it doesn't give you any privacy whatsoever. If you want privacy, you'd need something digital and encrypted, and as far as I'm aware, encryption isn't actually allowed on PMR446, nor
noise digital encryption, but you can still use digital transmissions. You're allowed to use DMR on there, and DPMR as well, I think it's the other one. Although I've not seen any type approved radios for that. But the PMR446 does have 16 channels available, although this is an older radio which only has the 8. So we're almost there now. Almost there. And once this is done, I'll be going back to the car and I'll be going to my next destination, which is the down home viewpoint, which I probably could see from here if I actually looked. Yeah, I think I can actually see it from here, but it's probably, the trees are probably in the way. So there's the radio, still transmitting, it's holding the transmitter, now it's dropped. There we go. And that's the first part of the experiment complete. So obviously I'll check that when I get home on the camcorder, which I've got running at home. So now I've got to get to the down home viewing point, and that's going to not take too long. So that's where I'm going to head next. So I'll catch you when I get there. And if I don't run out of fuel in the meantime, but I should have enough fuel to get over there. It looks like it's about a quarter of a tank, but that's okay, that's fine. I'm not working tonight, which is a good thing. So I'll catch you in a wee while. Okay, so you join me at the down home viewing point. There is a firing range near here, so do kind of have to be careful, but should be fine because I'm not actually on the firing range. I'm actually parked up in the car park, which is part of the public right of way. So I should be okay as long as I don't get told off by the army. The other thing, I better point this out in case people aren't actually aware, is that PMR446's secondary use of that part of the radio spectrum, the primary spectrum user, is in fact the Ministry of Defence. So it's just a little pointer there, just in case you might want to consider using anything illegal on PMR446. The Ministry of Defence might not like that very much, and they might tell Ofcom, and then yeah, we know what happens there. So I've got the tablet again. I've got a different picture this time. This is a picture of the viewing point. I'm going to unlock the tablet again, obviously put my pin number in. So Sstv Encoder, and we're going to open an image again. Go to the gallery, go into the Bluetooth folder again. This time I'm going to select a different picture. I'm going to move it up into frame, and not sure if you can see that, probably not. And I'm going to do what I did before, so transmit on the radio, press start on here, should be able to let go of the key. Yes, I have. So radio is now transmitting. There's sheep up here as well, which is interesting enough. So I'm not sure how many sheep that have been accidentally shot by the army, because it is kind of army territory up here. So this is now transmitting. So I'm going to be sending it twice like I did before. I could monitor it using the FTM400. I'm trying to remember the number of that now. I've had it for long enough. But I'm not going to monitor it, because that does receive actually on PMR446. It won't transmit there though without being modified, and you know, I'm not modifying it. Not unless I want to use it in America on their 77s allocation, which isn't going to happen, I don't think. So we're now transmitting in PD120 again, and it's on channel 1 again. So no CTCSS, because I think the CTCSS might upset the transmission a wee bit. So that's why I've not bothered with the CTCSS. So the setup is just very simple. It's just a 2.5 to 3.5 mil jack plug adapter into the Intec, and an aux cable into the tablet and the Intec via the adapter. That's all it is. At the other end, it's through a ground loop isolator. I've shown you that already. So just keeping an eye out for, make sure that no angry corporals or anything show up and ask me to leave. We should be okay. I'm going to send this twice like I did before, so. And I'm only at 0.5 watt, so I'm well within legal things. Well, yeah, actually, I've never actually properly measured the full power output of this, and I'd have to take the antenna off to do that, and that requires desoldering it, and I'd rather not do that. So we're almost at the end of transmission now, and It's probably going to upset people on channel 1 of PMR446, me doing this. But at the end of the day, it's shared spectrum, and also people have to accept the interference incoming. Okay, so that's now stopped and the key has now dropped. So I'm going to send that again. So I've got to key the radio again, press the start button, let go of the key, and that's now sending again. Sending it twice means if at least one doesn't go through, the other should, but if they both don't go through, then that's kind of to be expected. So I don't think this is as high as where I was over at the old race course in Richmond, which I don't think I can actually see from here. I'm a little bit lower down here. The road does start to incline a bit, but I have come here before and done CB up from up here. I'm just going to stand back from the camera a little bit. So this is not something I've ever done before. You transmit SSTV on PMR446. There's nothing in the document saying that I'm not allowed to do this. Although having said that, the radio is type approved and it's within the channel bandwidth and everything else, unless it starts overdriving the radio, which it shouldn't do. So I'm not actually sure what the volume is set to on this, but it's certainly set loud enough that the other end is receiving it fine. So I've done some tests behind the scenes to make sure that everything's a-okay. So hopefully this little experiment will work, and that's part of the radio hobby. Experiment. I mean, you don't need a license to experiment, you can just experiment with this. They don't make this radio anymore, which is a shame, but it's a good little radio, and you can pick them up second hand on eBay, but most of them have probably been modified for 4 watts, so just watch out for that. So yeah, you can do all sorts with PMR446. I'm planning on getting some more PMR446 kit in to have a look at. I mean, there's quite a few nice ones out on the market now that look as though they do the job quite nicely. I mean, this is one of my favourites because this is actually like proper radio. It's not kiddie's toy walkie-talkie thing. So, but it still has the call tones on it. So, I'm not sure whether that's something that's mandated in PMR446 or not. It's not really necessary for PMR446 transmissions, I suppose. So, that's just come to the end of the transmission now. I'll bring the radio in so you can actually see it drop the carrier. There we go. Little transmit for a bit, and there you go. It is now dekeyed. So that's this part of the experiment complete. So the next thing to look at is what I've received actually back at the base. So just press the monitor. There's actually no one on PMR446 up here. I think I was getting more at the old race course than I was up here. So that's not too bad. Right, so now what I've got to do is drive back home. And I'm just hoping that the army aren't too upset with me being here. I don't think they are. So, because I've not strayed past the sign that says Danger Military Training Area, which is just over there, just off the shot. You can't see that, but it is there. So, I'll catch you in a wee while.
Okay, so you join me back in the shack now, and the early results are in, and it looks like, if I just bring the camera in a bit, that the images from the race course got through, but the images from up at the viewing point didn't. So I'll be having a look at the footage captured on the camcorder, because there was a speaker in this room and that should have put out any sign of the squelch opening on the base camp 446. However, if that was the case, something should have got through from up there, but it doesn't look as though it did. So, I'll go back to the computer to obviously finish off this video, and we'll follow up from there. Okay, so I've had a look at the footage that the camcorder's taken, and I've found that the only images I got is definitely the ones that were transmitted from the race course. So you'll see those in the video at some point if you haven't seen them already. So this is just going over the editing process now. So I'd say that was a moderately successful experiment. You can transmit slow scan television over PMR446 and receive it, no problem at all, bearing in mind your height is might. I'm not sure how far I was getting from the race course, so I'm not sure if people using channel 1 were suddenly surprised to hear strange noises on channel 1. However, PMR446 is non-interference, non-protected, so you've got to basically be aware that if there's any interference or anything on the channel you're using, then you basically have to put up with it or move to another channel where possible. So that's just how PMR446 and other license-exempt services currently are in this country. So non-interference and non-protected. So basically you can't cause interference and you're not protected from it. Although I wouldn't consider sending data packets or slow scan television as interference, as that's perfectly legitimate use of the frequency. Although I'm not sure where it 100% stands on slow scan television. However, I can't see any reason why that would be a problem. So that was, yeah, as I say, it was moderately successful, so I'm happy with that. So it's Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey November uniform, or as I was today on PMR446 26 Charlie Tango 730. That's also on 11 meters as well, or you can just call me call me the Red Squirrel on the CB. So 7-3 for now, and I'll catch you in the next video. And don't forget, videos are available early to patrons on Patreon. So if you want to chip in a little bit there, you can actually see my videos a wee bit early. So 7-3 for now, and I'll catch you in the next one.